cases, and it's important that we also have this particular conversation. Again, it is what it is. A lot of the cases have been decided now, and there's still more to be decided. So what we're going to do today is to look at the implications of that particular judgment on our electoral process, on the political process in the country, and of course, what are the legal implications of those judgments in the different states. So it's one of the things we're going to be looking at. So it's going to be an interesting conversation this evening, definitely, because of how far we're going to go into this particular issue. And we're going into this issue so deep because it's important that we set the record straight, look at the legal implications, the political implications, and even what could be the implications of these judgments as far as our elections are concerned. So we're going to look at that particular issue. But we have two major issues, as usual, on Political Roundtable this evening. We have Barrister Curtis Adigba joining us all the way from the United States of America. We have Nuruddin Adegbenro in the studio. We have Joseph Olorunso in the studio. And together we're going to be looking at these issues. The first issue, we're going to be very fast on this one, but it's just important that we bring it again into Political Roundtable this evening, because again, I've always said it, one of the tenets of any democracy in the world is a vibrant opposition, and I think we can't overstate the need for us to begin to talk about how fast political opposition in Nigeria is becoming a problem. So we're going to be looking at recent developments within the PDP. PDP stalwarts Daniel Bwala and Mr. Segun Showunmi has hinted at a possible defection to the APC. Yes, I think the two of them gave some very interesting statements, visit statements, comments in the past week, in the last week, and they gave an hint to the fact that, look, they could be on their way to the APC. While they were making those comments, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar of the PDP also issued a statement saying that he is now more than ever ready to lead a coalition of opposition political parties against the APC in 2027. Of course, he did that while congratulating some PDP governors whose elections victory were affirmed by the Supreme Court. So he gave those comments, saying that he was ready to lead a coalition of opposition political parties against the APC in 2027. But while he was saying that, his stalwarts, or people who can call his kitchen cabinet, or associates, or people you can call his people that are supposed to be his right-hand persons, were making statements, were making visits that hinted that they could be on their way to the APC. So we want to ask ourselves this evening, how badly is opposition politics threatened in Nigeria? Because again, whether we like it or not, the largest opposition political party in the country is still the PDP. So if you have this level of instability within the party, you may want to ask yourself if opposition politics is not being threatened severely in the country. So that's the question we're going to be asking ourselves. Remember that just last week, or I think about 2 weeks ago, at the banquet in Port Harcourt, the G5, led by WG Samuel Ortom, the former governor of Benue State, also made remarks that kept a lot of us asking whether they are still members of the PDP or they are already in the APC. So we'll ask ourselves that question this evening. Now, the Supreme Court has affirmed the victories of 10 governors. We're going to ask ourselves, what are the legal implications, the political implications, and electoral implications of these judgments? Because, again, a lot of judgments were, a lot of states were settled. Lagos, Kano, Zamfara, Ebonyi, Plateau, Abia, Cross River, and Bauchi states were resolved. Enugu had been resolved earlier, and I think Benue had also been resolved earlier before Lagos, Kano, Zamfara, Ebonyi, Plateau, Abia, Cross River, and Bauchi states were all resolved on Friday. I think there are still some pending cases, Ogun State and some other states. Ogun State, Adamawa State, Abia has been resolved. Abia has been resolved.
OT has taken his
I
position.
think Taraba State is still in the mix and all of that. But we'll get there and we'll look at all of these issues. But let's just start this way. Let me welcome Barrister Curtis Adigba to the show this evening. Good evening, Barrister.
Good evening, my brother. Thanks for having me.
Yes, nice to have you on the show this evening. We have Nuruddin Adigbenro here with us in the studio. Good evening, Nuruddin.
Good evening. Good evening
to everyone in the studio.
Yeah, everyone is fine, and we hope you're also fine.
I'm doing well.
Okay, all right. So that's the voice of Barrister Curtis Adigba. Again, we can only thank his commitment to the show. You know, he's despite not being in the country, he's committed to the show and always found a way to be a part of the conversation. So we want to thank you sincerely for always finding time to join us on the show.
Thank you.
All right, Nuruddin, nice to have you in the studio this evening.
Well, good evening, and to our listeners, good evening.
All right, Joseph Olorunsho.
Well, good evening to our listeners. Good evening too. It has been a very busy week last week occasion, but we are repairing our Tᴜɪᴛᴛ bridge now.
Okay, well,
I wish I'm not Tᴜɪᴛᴛ bridge so that they will be maintaining me every time.
I don't know because almost every year there's a ritual of maintenance on the Tᴜɪᴛᴛ bridge. It seems unending.
And the other bridge that links to the island, apart from Tᴜɪᴛᴛ bridge, they don't get sacrifice.
Attention.
They don't get sacrifice because they have become a deity now. So they didn't get sacrifice like a Tᴜɪᴛᴛ bridge.
I saw
they got two. I think
two rams.
I
saw a video
have to go down
of a ritual of 2 rams being slaughtered. I don't know whether it was approved by government or
you should be able to know that no matter how you want to put it, Lagos Island,
you should know that
they'll just do their traditional.
Without the ram, yeah?
Yes.
Without the ram, the powers that control the river will not allow the bridge to be rebuilt.
Yeah.
So in other countries where
yes. You can't call it. The thing is, I think you have to understand the values that people bring to the table.
Yes.
That's their belief.
Okay.
Their belief is that the ancestors control the water, and if you don't appease that the ancestors, you cannot build that bridge. So if it's going to be repaired, the ancestors also. But the other side of the whole issue, I think these people needed to eat some meat.
And
they found a clever excuse for that.
Is it the government that paid for those rams, or it was just the people doing their own thing?
It's possible. It's possible. The government recognizes the traditional festival of Lagos.
Yes, they do.
And those things are also part of the festival. So that could come under security.
Security budget.
Yeah, you know how we manage, and then it can also come from the traditional ruler of the place.
After all, before the election too, we have a parade and a lot of sacrifices. So automatically it can also come under it.
All right. Okay. Anyways, all we just want is a safe Tᴜɪᴛᴛ bridge, because that's the busiest bridge connecting the mainland to the island, it's important that we pay attention to it so that people can be safe using that particular bridge. But that's not the major point of conversation this evening. It's Political Roundtable, Mainland 98.3 FM. Like I said, we have 2 issues on the roundtable this evening. 2 very important issues, fundamental to the survival of our democracy in Nigeria. The first one, PDP stalwarts Daniel Bwala, Segun Showunmi hints at a possible defection to the APC. Atiku says he's ready to lead opposition coalition against the APC in 2027. But we need to ask ourselves, how badly is opposition politics trending in Nigeria? And then the second issue, Supreme Court has affirmed the victories of 10 governors so far. On Friday, 8 cases were concluded, and all the governors retained their seats. So we ask ourselves, what are the legal and political implications of these different judgments? But it's a tradition that before we go into these 2 major issues for today, we'll look at what is trending, some of the headlines trending in our different daily newspapers. The Nigerian Super Eagles have just concluded their first match at the AFCON against Equatorial Guinea. It's all square, 1-1. But I must say that I didn't go into that match with too much expectation. I don't want to have BP. but it's all square, 1-1. A bit disappointing, but again, I'm sure we can always get out of that group.
There's still 2 matches to go in the preliminary, so let's see what is going to happen. But I must confess, it's going to be very, very hard for me to have BP since Tunisia '94 that I watched all the matches of that particular tournament. I have concluded there is no way.
You just go.
No, there is no way.
Thinking anything can happen.
There is no way.
All right. Well, I think it was a bit of a poor performance.
My heart is very, very important to me. I don't watch Nigeria live match.
But you watched today? Or
No,
you
I was just.
We forced it to stick around the last
All right.
minutes.
So there's a good one in the papers today. I think we've been following the story. Dangote refinery seeks approval to eat market with diesel and aviation fuel. So eventually,
that is Ure. That means in another 3 months, we should be 3 months or 4 months. We should be expecting Port Harcourt refinery too. You remember? So automatically with this, I think it's a good business, and we hope this thing is going to be positive things to the Nigerian market.
Economy,
and
yeah.
at the same time, maybe because we have the chairman of NNPCL saying it will not bring the pump price down.
No, we'll have to wait. I think some independent marketers have approached the refinery seeking understanding on pricing, supply, and all of that. So we'll wait to see what happens now that the refinery has started production. Let's see how it's going to affect the local market. But that's I think that's a good news.
It's a good news, but the people that are in charge, especially NCA, they should monitor seriously on the aviation fuel.
It's very important.
Very, very important.
Well,
Nigeria factor.
So I think all of the standards, because again from the reports we're getting, the Dangote refinery is built to international standard, and all of the I's have been dotted, all of the T's have been crossed. I think at that level, we should have some rest of mind. I just think it's going to be more on the implications to the local market. So again, we have National Assembly postponed resumption till January 30. They were supposed to resume, I think, on the 23rd. They've moved their resumption till the end of January. They need enough rest.
They've worked very, very hard. Very hard. Especially during the screening and whatever.
Yes,
and they got the prayers before they went.
Yes, Barrister Curtis, I'm with you.
You know, our National Assembly is the number one most hard-working National Assembly in the world.
So they deserve that rest.
Oh, they deserve it, and that's why they're also rewarded very heavily in terms of payments.
Okay.
The only thing is that, you know, what it takes the U.S. Congress to work from Monday to sometimes Sundays, hours, compound everything between Tuesday and Thursdays.
Yes,
and that's all. They don't even work on Friday.
But they don't work on Monday. They tell you that the other days are used for committee assignments.
Assignments, yes. And maybe because they have to, they ensure they pass the budget before the new year. So maybe that stretch of work, having to touch the budget here and there, and eventually adding 1.2 trillion.
In fact, some of them are still feeling the pains from the work they did on the budget.
Okay.
Their body has not recovered.
Okay, so they resume January 30. We'll be expecting them to that's what they've said.
Yes.
They've moved it from 23rd of January to the 30th of January.
7 days.
Okay, so good one.
They can still be batch.
They can still move it forward again.
Once they come back, you know how they work very fast.
Okay.
They'll cover all the grounds.
All right. So that's just that. And then $6 billion Mambila project. Agunloye, Dr. Lu Agunloye here to perfect bail condition. That's what the papers are reporting. And the federal government has marked 260 roads nationwide for construction in 2024. That's 260 roads. I'm sure when the detail, we'll look at the details.
That one, I remember now. Onolomeme, 500 roads.
500 roads.
And that is his own distance.
I just hope that we'll be able to do these 260 roads.
I think with the better capture it very well should be rehabilitation, not construction.
Well, whether construction, whatever, let's just have good roads. All right, I think we just have to go straight to what we have today. Still Political Roundtable, Mainland 98.3 FM. I'm sure we're streaming the show live on Facebook and YouTube, so you can actually join us on Facebook and YouTube to watch the show live. You can also drop your comments and contributions on our Facebook platform and YouTube platform. Be sure that I'm going to read all your comments when we get to that particular point. But let's just go straight to the first issue for today. Barrister Curtis Adigba, Nuruddin, Joseph Folorunsho. We're looking again at opposition politics in Nigeria. In the last week, we had Daniel Bwala, who was the spokesperson of the Presidential campaign of the PDP, who is also an associate of the PDP presidential candidate, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, he made a visit to the Aso Villa, and he made some very interesting comments after his visit. You know, we saw the picture of him with the president, and, you know, while leaving the Aso Villa, he had an encounter. He had his normal, usual media encounter with the press, and he had a lot of interesting things to say. While we were still chewing on that, Mr. Segun Showunmi, who is also a PDP stalwart, a very strong member of the PDP, I think in the last election even ran to become the governor of Ogun State. Yes, on the platform of the PDP. In fact, the information we have now is that he wants to be the chairman of that party. He has his eyes on the chairmanship of the PDP. And while we're still looking at Daniel Bwala, wondering what could be happening to the PDP, Segun Showunmi also made some very interesting comments that I think will set the tone for the conversation on the first topic this evening. Let me crave your indulgence. Let's just listen. Let's take these two sound bites. Daniel Bwala and Mr. Segun Showunmi to set the tone for the conversation this evening. Let's just take this short break, listen to this sound bite, and we'll be right back.
I honor the invitation of His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who is a father to the nation, who God has given the opportunity to lead the country at this difficult time. And so I came to celebrate and congratulate him, and then to also give him our commitment that as citizens of the country, this is a time for all of us to throw our weight behind and support the administration. I gave an illustration of an aircraft that has taken off. The aircraft is the country. The passengers are the citizens. The pilot is Mr. President, his co-pilot is Excellency the Vice President. The cabin officials might be the ministers or other agents of the Federation. You may not like the takeoff of the airplane. You may have even your perspective about the way the pilot is, walking towards the turbulence, above the sea level. But one fact that must bind all of us is that the plane needs to land so all of us can be alive. When it lands, you can also say you don't like the way it lands. But at the 39,000 feet above sea level, the prayer of everybody, including the pilot and the passenger, will be the safe landing of the plane. Because if the plane crashes, apart from the aircraft getting destroyed, the pilot, the co-pilot, the cabin members, and all the passengers' life at risk. So at this difficult time, what we need is to throw our support and then see how we're able to navigate around. Because there are difficult things in this country. Hardship, poverty, insecurity, and the only way we can come together and support the achievement of this objective, I think, is for us to give our best in supporting the administration. So I came to congratulate him and then to tell him that I'm particularly excited about the recent policy decision he has taken to demonstrate that he's about the people and not just protecting his people. He took decisions against certain ministers who allegedly were said to have committed infraction. The marked difference between him and the previous administration is that the previous administration may want to cover in order to avoid the backlash that the government is corrupt. But he is not about that. If this thing will touch on the poorest of the poor, humanitarian, that's the focus. And anybody who is caught wanting shall not be covered. I told Mr. President I was thrilled by that decision. He surprised us by the policy decision he has made to reduce the cost of governance. So it is like the unfolding. The most important thing in my communication with him was to look at his demeanor as he was talking to me about his passion for the country and the intention, to make sure that he leads a country with integrity. And you can have opinion from outside. When you sit from across table and you hear him, you can see what I've been taught as a lawyer is you not just know the law, you must know the demeanor of the judge. This informs your capacity to advocate. And that's what I did today. I was looking at the demeanor. I could see the passion and the conviction to lead. And that to me is exciting. It's not about party. This is about the country. Well, I'm here as a private citizen who must be bound by the conviction we have towards our country and the need for us to push the country to a better place that we all desire. First of all, I'm not even a leader in the PDP. I'm a private citizen. But you must also admit that I have had my history with Mr. President. When I was in APC, before the primaries, I was practically his key spokesman as at the time. And I supported his cause because I believed in him. And so I used this opportunity today to even touch on some of those past. And I'm very happy that instead of the president getting actually offended, he gave me some life lesson, about the fact that in life, if you are going to be offended because people took decisions that didn't favor you, you would never be hateful to anybody in life, or you can never relate with people. That largeness of the heart to me is encouraging. And I am also here to say I am supporting President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in achieving the objective of the problems we are in the country. I don't think that at this time of hunger and problems in the country, somebody should be here talking about party. And as per defection, God knows tomorrow, but I am fully committed to supporting the cause of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. That has to be made clear.
Am I going to criticize Bola Tinubu, President Tinubu, more than the one I've been criticizing him? Am I going to fight him more than the one I've been fighting? Do you know, I've known this man since 1993, by name and by voice. And yet, on behalf of this party and for the benefit of this party, I'm closing my eyes to everything I'm standing. The person that was president in 1999 of Obasanjo, is he still a member of their party today? The one that said he didn't have shoe, Jonathan, that we gave him presidency 2 times. Because of Jonathan, we became a party that everybody was abusing. He's not even standing with the party today. I'm still here standing and shouting. And if they don't want us to reform the party, please, Bwala, Bwala. Keep space for me, I'm coming. That's what I'll say on that.
All right. Interesting comments there from Daniel Bwala and Mr. Segun Showunmi. I think it's very, very, very important that we said Barrister Curtis, you listen to the 2 sound bites.
Yes.
Okay, so what do you make? How threatened? What's it with the PDP? How threatened is opposition political party, opposition politics in the country? Because again, the PDP is still the largest opposition party in the country.
Let me tell you that from the history of the political system from 1999 up until this moment, we have not had a viable political opposition in Nigeria. When you talk about national political opposition, we've not had anyone. Now, we had a national political opposition during the time of Shagari, when we had the Unity Party of Nigeria, okay? And then the GMPP in some parts of the north, and then you have MPN as a ruling party. You had true believers in the ideas and the ideologies of their political parties, okay? Now, from 1999 up until this moment, all we've had is a collection of politicians gathering together in one political party and the other one at a time in order to just snatch power. Now, if you recall, the Alliance for Democracy was in charge of, I think, the Southwest, right? And just cornered that part of the country to themselves. But they were not playing national politics, really, if you observe. The only time they had to join in national politics was the National Conference under Jonathan. They did not take it. I'm sure you remember all this. Yeah. So what we have seen so far is that the Nigerian people themselves, who sometimes appreciate their misfortune or fortunes, have been the one playing the opposition in any political setup. In 2015, yes, some political parties came together and formed the APC, right? But they didn't displace or defeat the PDP because they defeated the PDP because the Nigerian people were tired of the PDP. It wasn't that the opposition provided any viable alternative in terms of ideas and all that. People were simply tired. And I see that happening in the future. I don't see the PDP coming together in the next 4 years and then taking out the APC. I think that the APC will run its full course like the PDP did. So I just wanted to have that as a background. Now, having said that, there is nothing that will happen in Nigeria within our political spectrum about characters leaving one party for the other that will ever surprise me.
Really?
Nothing. Nobody will pledge. The only person who will surprise me is me talking here today.
So you can surprise yourself, but no other person.
Yeah, because I have told myself that when I make a decision to leave the APC, I will become an independent or form a new party. I will not join an existing party. So if I go back on that word, I'll be surprising myself. Now, so when we talk about Daniel Bwala, from the soundbite that you played, I think there were two key issues that I would like to look at.
All right.
As a consultant who read optics, first and foremost, I think the president actually viewed Daniel's appearance at the villa as very important.
Yes.
And that was why he made sure that the picture that they took and showed to the whole world was taken before the emblem of the presidency, the seat of the president, to show that, yes, this is somebody that I welcome and I think is important, right? Now, having said that, Daniel himself said he was invited by the president of the country. And I don't see anything wrong in a private citizen or even a politician, an opposition politician visiting the president. I think we have said this over and over. Ahmed Bola Tinubu is the president of Nigeria today. He needs all our support to guide the country to govern successfully, because his success is our success, his failure is our failure. He needs our prayers and he needs our support. But here is the key issue. What happened does not reflect poorly on President Tinubu as it does on Daniel Bwala. And the lesson I think everybody should learn from what is going on right now is that even when you disagree with people, don't go overboard in attacking them. Because politics can change quickly tomorrow. And political alliances can also change. Because look at, from Daniel Bwala saying, even if you give Tinubu 30 years.
That was like a month ago.
Yes, it cannot change anything. From him saying, Tinubu brings nothing to the table other than the fact, and that all the successes attributed to him in Lagos happened, all that he did was just to collect money from Alphabeta. And just last week he said, Atiku will run again in 2027, and they were going to be part of that movement. And then all of a sudden, he goes back on all this. And he says, oh, the president is doing so well. Again, this is why we talk about politicians inventing reasons.
He gave two reasons, yeah.
But Daniel Bwala is acting like a judge. In a weird situation or weird comparison. What do I mean? A judge can sit down and take evidence from the two parties, right? He can decide to rule this side, provide reasons for you to support that ruling, and he can go to the other side and still provide reasons. So when he decided that Tinubu was not the man for him, because he got a better jail from Atiku, he gave us all the reasons in the world why Tinubu should not be trusted and why he cannot be president of Nigeria.
He even was so vocal and against the Muslim
yes.
ticket.
That's what I'm saying. And now I also was against the Muslim ticket. I want that to be on record. And now, but I didn't go overboard. I said it was an error of judgment in a country that is as intricate and complex like Nigeria. Now, having found his way back, either on the invitation of the president or him pressing channels to see the president, is on record saying a different thing. And so this is why a lot of Nigerians will tell you that politics is not for them. Because they think that those who are in active politics do not have values. But the truth of the matter is that politics is about interest. For a typical Nigerian, what is important for him in politics is what he gets from politics, not necessarily what he gives to politics. Now, someone asked me earlier today, why do you think that the president is doing this, or why do you think that the president needs a Daniel Bwala in the first place? I said I have not spoken to the president, so I don't know why. But if I offer an opinion, all right.
Let me add to that. Let me add to that question before you answer it, Barrister Curtis.
Yes.
Because again,
okay,
we know Daniel Bwala. He has always acted as like a spokesperson, heavily critical, good oratory prowess.
Rabu Rouser.
Well, I don't want to call him a Rabu Rouser, but at least we know he's always out there, very vocal. He also sounds very logical, comes with logic and all of that, So what is that thing that a Daniel Bwala, for example, will bring
to the table
to the table for the APC and the president that a Bayo Ononuga, for example, will not bring? That this man on the sidelines that we have not heard from, Fanika, for example, will not bring. That injury in Gilali will not bring.
And there's still a lot of journalists that are
even a Dele Alake too can still always speak for the president if he wants to. That's why the Minister of Power, Steel and Solid Mineral. So what's the thing about Daniel Bwala? Why the APC will be needing you at this time?
So Daniel brings the I don't care attitude to the table.
Oh, okay.
Now, don't forget that there is this outcry out there by some people saying this government is doing so much, but the government do not have spokespersons that can actually make a case for the government. I don't know if you have heard that.
Well, of course we've heard it. I just feel
there are people who say,
good product does not advertising.
Ajurin Gilari probably was promoted beyond his ability, and that while he was working on that, he was a shining star. But now that he's the limelight himself, he cannot handle the job. There are those who said Bayo Onanuga is too inflammatory, So, and that, when was the last time you heard Femi Fanika speak for the administration?
It's been so quiet. It's been so quiet.
So there is this thinking that a Daniel Bwala who is not afraid to go into a knife battle with a gun, and who can sell ice cream, who can sell ice to Eskimos, and and doesn't give a damn really about what, because he said when he came out of the president, he said, I have no apologies to anyone
and he said
for the position that I have
means I'll defect to the APC, so be it. So.
Yeah, and so be it. So I think they need him at this moment, but he needs them more because right now he's in the code, okay? And Daniel likes attention. Daniel wants to be the corpse in every funeral, and he wants to be the groom in every wedding. So going to see the president, he can easily tell you that he's returning home after he was with the president before. But before the president, I know he was also with some other people before he left to join Atiku. Even before he joined the Tinubu campaign, I knew he had relationship with another campaign. You understand what I'm saying? But what is important here and what is critical is that at this point in our history, the president needs the support of all Nigerian citizens to make a success of his presidency and to make a success of the country. That's for Daniel Bwala. Now, when you talk about Segun Showunmi, I think Segun Showunmi is oversubscribing his importance in the PDP. In 2019, he was a spokesperson for Atiku. In 2023, he was a candidate himself. But I think that his desire to be the chairman of the party should not be anything like my way or the highway. First and foremost, he said he's known the president since 1993. Yeah. And by the way, early this morning, he put out a video of him dancing. And he captured it and said, me dancing in response to the idiots who think that I need Daniel Bwala to reach President Tinubu.
But he just said, Daniel Bwala, keep my seat for me. We didn't say that. He said
it. So now he's calling those who responded
to what he said
to that message as idiots, and that he didn't need any Daniel Bwala to reach President Tinubu that he has known since 1993, and that if he wanted to reach him, he has ways of reaching him. Do you understand? Now, the point here is that we come back to the same point, which is to say that nothing shocks me. I will not be surprised or shocked by any Nigerian who leads any political party. Because let's ask ourselves, if you come from a family, right, and you are having a disagreement within your family because you wanted to take certain steps that people are not buying into yet, do you threaten your family that you are changing your family to another family because people are not listening to you? Is that what we do in normal living? That once you have a disagreement within your family, then you change family. Is that what is done?
Maybe he's looking at the template of G5 and co.
No. I think what is happening here is that there is an inner craving for some of these politicians who felt left behind and who are not relevant in the current scheme of things, right? And they are striving daily, looking for opportunity, inventing reasons why they should quit their party. I've told this story before. In 2015, my late father was an elder of the PDP in Benue State. At that time, majority of the PDP chieftains in the state were joining the APC because Otom had just been elected governor on the ticket of the APC. And the former deputy governor of Benue State, Chief Stephen Lawani, who had jumped to the APC from PDP, visited my dad with some party leaders and asked my dad to join the APC with them, right? When they left, my dad called me and said, "Oh, I had visitors today from your party and they've asked me to join APC and I want to know your opinion." And I told my dad not to join the APC. And he asked me why. He said, "You should be happy that I'm coming to your party." I said, "No, unfortunately, I'm sad." I said, "You have been in the PDP since 1999, right? If you leave the PDP now because the PDP has lost power, what will people say? They say you are a politician of fortune. So stay back in your party and help to rebuild it at the state level." You know what happened some years later? When Otom now went back to the PDP after his troubles with Atiku, and he had to pick the ticket of the PDP and run as a sitting governor. He visited my father and he went to thank my father for his steadfastness and for his principle. My dad again called me to thank me. If it wasn't for you, this would not have happened. So again, like I said, these are just the ones that have come out publicly. What about those who are negotiating behind the scene to join the APC already? So no, expect to see this because some people cannot stay out in the cold. They must invent reasons. And then we talked about the G5. Of course, the G5 has the group of G5 has one brain boss, like an engine. That brain boss is wicked. Wherever he goes, don't forget they are out in the cold now. Otom, Ipazu, apart from Iguanyi, apart from Seyi Makinde, who is the governor of Oyo State, the rest of them are out, and they will be relying heavily on Wike for funds, for patronage and for support. So that's nothing surprising, but I think that it reflects poorly on our politics for politicians to say we belong to party A, why they are supporting party B. It's not a good example. They have the right to move to the party fully. And I'll be appealing to Wike and the G5, let them openly move from PDP to APC so that PDP know exactly what is left of the party. Yes.
All right. Thank you, Barrister Curtis. I think he's been able to set, the tone for the conversation this evening. Again, looking at Daniel Bwala, Segun Showunmi, like I rightly said, these are the people that have come out in the open to give a hint to the possibility of them defecting to the APC. Nuruddin, Barrister Curtis have said that there are others that are not in the open. Some of them are negotiating behind closed doors. But, while all of that was happening, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar also issued a statement through his spokesperson saying that, look, he's now ready, very ready, to lead a coalition of opposition political parties against the APC in 2027. But people are asking, you're talking about a coalition, but your base is getting depleted on a daily basis. Well, again, it congratulated a number of PDP governors that have been able to retain their seat. I think the verdict of the Supreme Court somehow has given a bit of a boost, quote and unquote, now to the PDP, because I think more PDP governors can now breathe a sigh of relief and say, well, we've been able to retain our seat, at least the governor of Plateau State, Zamfara. Or he also congratulated the governor of Kano State, Abba Yusuf, the NNPP guy, and I think in his mind he's also looking at the possibility of NNPP forming that coalition with him. Let's look at the current politics of Alhaji Atiku Abubakar vis-a-vis what the G5 is doing and some of his close associates. Because whether we like it or not, Daniel Bwala, Segun Showunmi are very close associates of Alhaji Atiku Abubakar. Should he be disturbed that his associates are doing this while he is calling for a coalition against the APC in 2027?
Well, with the situation of things and looking at the political history, every opposition always try much as possible to have an add-ons to them. If you look at in 1999,
opposition or ruling party,
the oppositions,
okay,
anytime they lose an election, you will see them trying to have add-ons,
okay, calling
to them,
for more people to
join them, because that is why you see that in 1999, when Alliance for Democracy lost,
AD,
you discover that is one of the things. Looking for more hands was the one that metamorphosed them to Action Congress.
Okay.
In looking for more hands is what metamorphosed into Action Congress of Nigeria, going beyond the Southwest. So at that particular time, looking for more hands was the one that metamorphosed into APC. With other political party. I think now the model that Atiku is looking at is this: with the number of state controlled by APC compared to the number of states controlled by PDP, they need more hands. And looking at the result of the last presidential election means that if there was a coalition in that particular election, then it could have been an history. So because of that, and he knew that there are some certain members, because in every political party we normally have 3 sets of members in every political party. There are some that are natural supporter of the party. Come rain, come shine, they will not leave that particular party. Even those people that will go will still come and meet them there. There are some certain supporters like that. Then there are some certain supporters, we call them jumpology supporters. Their own is this: when the power is in that particular party, they stay put. But immediately the power leaves that particular party, they jump with the wave of the party that is in power. Then we have some, their own, we call them cross-leg supporters. Their own is this: they will not leave that particular party, but they will work with another party and they will put their leg in a cross like this. They will be in the middle where the wave comes from. That's why you see some certain politicians, they will be in a political party, but they are going to be collecting salary from the ruling party. So those are the 3 types of supporters you have. So now what Atiku is looking at is this: at this particular time, I still have much particular years. Don't forget, immediately after the judgment of the Supreme Court, so that is where the politician starts. And that is the reason why he's trying much as possible with the situation. And don't forget that Bwala that we all talked about, does he have the political value even in PDP? What he does is this: he's looking for job. The job has ended with the Atiku, who is not a president now. And I see a president that will be able to give me free Estaco, that is going to give me free salary, that is going to give me free air flights. He's looking for a job. It's just like, that's why you see that. I used to say it: if politician says good morning, you have to go and check the sky.
But Nuruddin, or let me say Joseph Folorunsho, Atiku is calling for a coalition. He wants people to join him. He wants, in fact, he's extended his gesture to the Labour Party. He's talked about the possibility of
anybody
NNPP.
that can come.
But people are saying that, look, for you to say people should come into your coalition, they must see that you are keeping what you have. You can't be telling me come when what you have, you are losing it. Or it seems that you cannot keep what you have. As it is today, we have 4 former governors and a sitting governor who are still forming a group threatening, the political future of his party. You have his associates, very close associates, who are already showing an inclination to possible defection to the opposition. And like Barrister Curtis said, there are others that we don't even know about. So while he's looking at more people, don't you think for now what he should do is to consolidate on the achievements of the PDP, solidify that base, resolve all of the issues within the party as a leader of the party, so that they can build on their strength, and then of course consolidate on that to bring in more people into their fold to challenging the APC in 2027? Don't you think his obsession for a coalition is wrong, that he has a lot of problem within the party. His party, the PDP.
I think, Fuad, let me first thank you seriously and thank Mainland FM seriously, because there was this sometime last year.
Yes,
we're having a conversation here that Nigeria should be careful to have a one-party system.
We've
if we have a one-party system, we are going to be in serious trouble. Then let me come to the issue of associate. I think we are getting a lot of things wrong. You can be saying that Bwala Showunmi, the associate of Atiku Abubakar.
Yeah.
Why this character? They know that they are not an associate. It's you that say they are associate. These are.
We know.
No, you didn't know deep within their hearts. So these are, because for example, when I see some Nigerian politician behavior, I want to ask them, maybe they don't only have conversation with their children. As I'm talking now, Elga Fuad, I know my son is listening to us. And after this thing, even when I'm on order, he will say, "Oh, Daddy, why do you say that kind of thing?" So sometimes if I'm saying anything, I'll try to be careful so that when he confronts me with something, I should be able to explain. But I don't want the boy to mess me up. You understand? So the Bwala and the rest, if you know that you have a child or a daughter or a wife or a brother or a friend who listen to all the things you have said yesterday, and you now come to this side, to me, I will look at, this person's, I'm looking at it to be a human being created in the image of God. But I should not be, none that is as if he's behaving that there's an animal that have 4 legs. They say sometimes he will chop. Then he do another thing with those things that he has ingested. So, to me, again, they are doing all these things because they know their audience. Nigeria take anything. Because if it is some country, after saying a lot of all those things against the president, current president, a former president, you now come and make a 360 degree. You are saying another thing. Nobody will be willing to associate with you completely. So my appeal to Atiku Abubakar is, if he will not travel to Dubai tomorrow, he should take that coalition to Nigeria. Form a coalition with Nigeria. No, because some of these guys, we call them associate, they are not actually his associate. And remind me, one of our course then we call it personality traits. Character, no matter how you trying to paint someone. Here we are saying that these are stalwart of PDP. But I know the meaning of stalwart, the complete loyal person, a reliable person. So, and we are calling them stalwart of PDP, but they are exhibiting sometimes opposite
from what we are calling.
So I don't think we should be calling them those. So then I want to appeal to our dear president. I want to appeal to our dear president. He is #1 citizen of Federal Republic of Nigeria. The support I should be looking for now is the support of Nigeria. Nigeria that voted him into power.
Daniel
for
Bwala
4
is
years.
a Nigerian, don't you think?
Daniel Bwala, to me, if I have opportunity to meet him one-on-one, if I meet the president one-on-one, except maybe after the conversation, the people there will not say I should come and drink tea. There are some questions I will ask the president in respect of having a meeting with Bwala. I know that his security agency may not like that. They will ask, why do you ask the president this kind of question? Because I know the answer that he may
want to give.
That he will give.
All right.
You understand me?
Curtis. Yes.
Fuhad, I think that we must give credit to the president here.
Okay.
And if anyone came out much better from what happened between the president and Daniel Bwala, it was the president. First of all, he cemented his reputation as a politician and a leader with a big heart. If you recall, people like Obani Koro and some of the politicians in Lagos who left him and later came back to him, he accepted them back. You understand? So the president needed that optics to send a message again to all political opponents. Whether if you've thought you had offended me in the past, you can come home like the
Daniel
prodigal
Bwala
son.
said it. He said he exhibited a large heart. He welcomed me back.
Yes. So he worked better for the president than Daniel. Now, for Daniel reflected more like an Atiku kind of person by what he did. And that is why most people don't take both of them seriously. Serious. Look at it this way. Atiku started from the PDP, right? He left the PDP and went to
ACN.
I think ACN.
ACN, yeah.
He left ACN and went back to the PDP. And then he left PDP again and joined the APC. He left APC and went back to the PDP. So he's been going. But I mean, when you talk about Atiku, you are simply talking about him moving from one party to the other. You understand? And it tells you, I'm looking for the presidency because I think I have something to give that will change the trajectory of the country. All right? But in the case of Daniel Bwala, and you look, even with Atiku and all that he has done, you cannot put Atiku on record about being so incinerating and so inflammatory against any of the people he has run against. Do you understand?
I'm with you.
Yes, Atiku will come out and make a policy statement by saying the economy is in the doldrum, the president is not governing the country well. But Atiku doesn't go beyond those policy statements to attack people personally, you understand? Now, so in the case of Daniel Bwala, there's basically no limit to what he did. If it's for you, it gives you the whole world. You use all kind of adjectives to describe you and all that. Again, like we said, you should take a look at the man whose book is lifting a page from, Femi Fani-Kayode. If this is about political appointment, well, the fortunes of individuals might be different. But I think that Janet Bwala is doing so much damage to himself. And one of the things that I've noticed online, which again speaks to the hypocrisy of our people, is that you will realize that those who abused him, called him all sorts of names, when he dumped the president, are the ones praising him now, when he went back to the president. And those who received him and were so happy with him when he dumped the president for Atiku, are the ones now abusing him.
Yes.
So, and again, is it not even worrisome that in the country where we are having the kind of challenges we have, the security situation, daily people are being kidnapped, even from their homes in the capital of the country. We are talking about two characters, Daniel Bwala and Showunmi, instead of setting the agenda, which is what usually we do here.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying?
So
I think personally they must be enjoying themselves hearing us talk about them.
And getting all of the attention.
Have you?
But again, beyond them, we are looking at, the PDP, again, last time we spoke about the G5, which, of course, is also important, whether we like it or not, as an integral part of the PDP.
Let me tell you something quickly.
Yes.
You see, there is nothing that is cast in iron in Nigerian politics.
Yes.
If the president makes a decision to drop Wike as a minister of FCT today and doesn't give him another job, Wike will go back to the PDP with his five colleagues. I hope you know that.
Yeah,
and all of a sudden, the fortunes of the PDP will begin to rise. In fact, as we move towards 2027, the political gladiators that will lose out in the APC, many of them will find their way to the PDP. I hope you know that too.
Oh yes, of course, it's not impossible.
So nothing is cast in iron.
So for now, let's just leave it open and see how it goes. Okay, all right. Let's
Yes.
Because this second issue is about agenda setting. We are looking at judicial reform. We are looking at possibility of electoral reforms. We are looking at strengthening our democracy. Because again, if we say the judiciary is the last hope of the common man, and if everything fails in our elections, we always say, look, go to court, justice will be served. The Supreme Court of Nigeria on Friday delivered judgments in 8 governorship elections. They've done 2 before, so making 10 in total. Lagos, Kano, Zamfara, Ebonyi, Plateau State, Abia, Cross River, and Bauchi states were all decided. Because of time, we'll not be able to go to each of the states, issues in each of the states. But I think we can highlight the issue of Kano and Plateau State, to set the tone for a lot of the judgments or even Zamfara. And I think the judgment from these 3 states captures the mood of the Supreme Court, and they are thinking in most election petitions, especially when it comes to governorship elections that were brought before it. Let's start with that of Plateau State. Barrister Curtis Adigba. I think we can use that, to eventually move into the conversations in Kano and eventually look at Zamfara. let's just give ourselves a bit of a background. Before you come in, by Curtis, let's give our listeners a bit of background. We knew how it all started. The State Election Petition Tribunal upheld the elections of Governor Caleb Mutfwang. Eventually, the appeal court ruled against it, and there has been a back and forth on how the primaries of the PDP were conducted. Some legislators at the State House of Assembly lost their seat. National Assembly members also lost their seats, senators, 2 of them. And I think 4 other House of Reps members of the PDP also lost their seats. Mr. Curtis Adigba, that judgment of the appeal court had been completely nullified by the Supreme Court, saying that, look, you know, the justices of the appeal court erred in their judgment against the PDP in that state. Now, let's go into what the Supreme Court has said and how we got to this particular point and what could be the legal and political implications for Plateau State.
Okay, so I think for the benefit of the listeners, the issue in Plateau State was that the candidates that emerged to contest the election emerged through ESCO, the Executive Council that was elected by a Congress that the court had outlawed, right? In other words, there was another of court that said the PDP should not hold that Congress, the Congress that produced the ESCO that conducted the primaries that produced the candidates. Okay? And so, on the basis of that, the lower tribunal in Plateau held that the PDP had no candidates in the election. Now, the matter went on appeal, and on the basis of the ruling of the lower tribunal, the Court of Appeal upheld the decisions, those decisions. And what that meant for senators, House of Reps, and House of Assembly members, right, was that they had to leave because that was the end of the road as far as the judicial process was concerned. For that of the governor, he had the right to appeal to the Supreme Court. And of course, you know that in 1999, when we started, the highest court that could deal with election petition from the State House of Assembly, the House of Reps and Senate, and even governorship election, was the highest court, was the Court of Appeal. But as a result of miscarriage of justice in so many areas, an amendment was made that allowed that of the governorship election to go up to the Supreme Court. And I can tell you, if it wasn't for the Supreme Court, both the governor of Kano and Plateau State today will be ex-governors. Now, what the court did, I will disagree slightly with your interpretation.
Okay.
The court then did not actually pronounce in form of a judgment, right? What the court did was, in passing by, said the Court of Appeal was wrong. And the Court of Appeal was wrong because the Supreme Court had dealt with this matter before. You remember that in the case that Atiku and Obi filed against President Tinubu and his party, they had alleged that the selection of the vice president was not right because he had already picked a ticket to go to the Senate. And they accused President Tinubu of choosing someone who had 2 nominations. Do you understand?
Yeah,
and therefore stands disqualified. Now, the Supreme Court clearly stated that, 1, it was a pre-election matter. 2, that you cannot import a pre-election matter into the election matter. 3, that it was an internal affair of the party, and that even members of the party who did not contest for that position cannot challenge that the election. Do you understand?
Itself, yes.
So the only person who can challenge it will have to be someone who participated in the primaries and felt injured by that conduct. So we expected that the Court of Appeal was going to look at it from that point of view. But I think the court took the decision that, based on the fact that what happened was not a pre-election matter, that it has to do with the entire process. What it means is that if there was a valid court order that said the PDP should not conduct a congress that led to the election of ESCO members that conducted the primaries, it means nothing happened and that you cannot put something on nothing. Okay? And the counter argument by the PDP is that no, we obey the court order, and no, we had a subsequent Congress that INEC staff attended. So that was the counter argument. Now, but the Supreme Court looked at it and said, look, no, this was a pre-election matter, and the Court of Appeal held by upholding it as a different thing from a pre-election matter. Do you understand? And felt that the guys who had been sacked already, and who probably will have no way of coming back, had been dealt with unjustly. But you see, the problem is that we can't allow all cases from politics to go to the Supreme Court. That's the truth of the matter. As I speak to you now, the docket of the Supreme Court is filled to the brim. Don't forget that the court does not deal with only political cases. There are cases that have worked themselves all the way from some from the magistrate court down to the Supreme Court, and they have not been heard because of politicians who can't conduct themselves in a decent way and manner. They all want to win at the same time. So that was the ruling. Now, what is the implication? Because you wanted to know the implication.
Yes.
Already, as you know, it's beginning to cause problem in Plateau State. The Speaker has said that the seat of the 10 members, right, from the APC is now vacant because the Supreme Court said that the Court of Appeal held in law. And I don't think that is the right way to go about it, because that will lead to crisis. What I think that the Speaker should do and the PDP should do, right, is that on the basis of the opinion of the Supreme Court, they should approach a federal high court in Jos or in Abuja, asking the court to declare the seats of those people vacant and return the original members of the PDP who were elected. That way, the matter can find its way again up down to the Court of Appeal, where the Court of Appeal now will be guided by the decision or the opinion of the Supreme Court. And the only reason why the Supreme Court came out very hard on the court is because there is a precedence, a judicial precedence, and the Court of Appeal must take a cue from the Supreme Court, right? If it was a matter that had never gone to the Supreme Court, you can expect that the Court of Appeal will make this kind of mistake. Now, having said that, I think that we should also have recourse to the National Judicial Council in looking at some of these cases and dealing with some of these justices. These are not small people. They even have the resources of approaching their learned seniors, the justices of the Supreme Court, to say, look, how do we deal with this matter? They could have, on the basis of this decision you took in this matter. Do you understand?
I'm with you.
And they would have been guided behind the scene, but they didn't do that. And so that's for Plateau. Then when you go to Kano, for instance, it was in your studio.
Studio, yes.
That I took the position that the judgment in Kano was wrong. One, and I say that the provision of the Electoral Act is not superior to that of the Constitution. One of the conditions when you look at the Constitution is that for you to contest for governor, apart from meeting the age requirement, you must have been sponsored by a political party. Now, that man was sponsored by his party, the NNPP. Okay? It's not in the place of APC to say that his name was not found in the membership of the party. And then the second reason that was given was that 165,000 votes were not stamped and signed by the INEC official. And the question I asked that day, did the man conduct the election himself? If INEC that conducted the election accepted those ballots and counted it, why is it in the place of the court to subtract that number of votes? Now, on both grounds, I think the Supreme Court ruled in his favor. Okay? So, again, it is good that in the case of Kano, you don't have collateral damage like we have in Plateau State. Because on the basis of that, nobody has lost his or her position.
In Kano State.
But in the case of Plateau, yes, it has severe consequences for these members. And that's why I've always advocated that the court should not be choosing winners and losers in our election. wherever the courts are in doubt as to who won the election, they should ask INEC to conduct a new election and give the electorate the opportunity to choose their leaders afresh.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. But it was a very long one, and I think he's been able to capture, how we got into all of these judgments in the Supreme Court, what a lot of people has considered the miscarriage of justice at the level of the appeal court. Now, again, he talked about the NJC. He talked about the fact that, look, there were precedents to...
Sorry, my brother.
Yes.
Can I excuse you guys now?
Okay, all right. I think you've done very well, really, trying to break down...
I need to jump into something quickly with my children.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Curtis, for being a part of the show. I think he's been able to break it down. But Nuruddin, again, the judges were very clear. Justice Agbin, for example, of the Supreme Court, he said, look, we have held in plethora of cases that the sponsorship of a candidate for election is an internal affair of a political party. The Court of Appeal lacks the jurisdiction to determine the validity of the candidacy of the PDP. That's of Plateau State now. Yᴏᴜᴛᴜ, that's the candidate of the APC, has no right to challenge the emergence of Governor Mutswang as a ticket holder of the PDP. If you look at Zamfara, Zamfara, I think it was more of how the elections were conducted, blah, blah, blah. But majorly Kano and Plateau State, the issue of qualification, I think again Ebonyi State too, and all of that. I told Mr. Curtis earlier in the morning that, look, a lot of these appeal court justices are eventually promoted to the Supreme Court. And we had different, like the Supreme Court has said, on plethora of cases. That means there are a lot of precedents, plenty cases that they could have looked to, to make their judgments without making this grave error. Because we are saying this because look at what has happened in Plateau State. State Assembly members have lost their seat. House of Reps members have lost their seat. Senators have lost their seat because of what the Supreme Court has now called, do you call it a mistake or a miscarriage of justice at the appeal court? Now, do you think that, for example, going forward, we are still going to see our politicians bring pre-election matters to election tribunal? Do you see them still allowing their lawyers to tell them, look, you can still take this to court, trying to take advantage of the legal system in the country?
Well, it's of two ways. Don't forget that we have some certain cases where politicians that employed lawyers to stand for them, and they will specifically ask them to bring pre-election matters into the election matters. We've seen a kind of cases, but our judges, particularly in the appeal court,
at the appeal court level,
they are the one that's supposed to be wielding that big stick. What it means is this: if as a senior lawyer, well learned,
and you have
precedents on it, when you come like that, they should give them an hammer or fines of like 100 million naira upward.
Politicians will pay.
They will pay, and the kind of embarrassment that will be part of that judgment. How can you stand as a senior advocate of Nigeria and you seek a justice of a court telling you that with your, and you know the way
some of these judgments are read,
always with your years.
Why would you bring this kind of
in the bar? And you bring this, and they will use some certain words,
abuse of judicial
with that particular one. I think then another thing again is that a lot of our judges in the Court of Appeal, there are a lot of Nigerians that are not even have much interest. Especially, you recall during the time of Dele Salami, that people always want a case to get to the appeal court at that particular time.
Yeah.
Now, with this particular judgment we have in Kano and although in Plateau State, it shows that everybody that is going to have a case in the appeal court has to be preparing very, very well, because at times they will be able to prepare that, okay, with this, even those people that are no lawyers, they know the precedent of, if you are not a member of a political party and you are not an aspirant in the primary election, you cannot challenge anybody that's a candidate of that particular primary election, that how he emerged. You can't, because you are not. It's like you are having your own house and there is a fence in between your
somebody
house.
Somebody is doing a tojuro into your own house.
You now want to peep that what did they cook in another person's house. So, and that is the thing. It is a high time. Then NJC needs to play a major role.
You need to come in on this,
because this kind of people now, they are the ones that will become justices in the Supreme Court.
Yes.
So automatically, if there is something that is inducing them, I think NJC needs to investigate, and they put a kind of armor, because a situation in which where we know that judiciary is the last hope of the common man, and you now have this kind of, because how do you want to describe this kind of judgment to those House of Assembly members, the House of Reps member, the senators who
have lost their seats,
and they have lost their seats at this kind of little procedure. So if there is an inducement, NJC should try, and also those particular judges that are head in that particular law to follow the precedents of the Supreme Court on that particular matter needs to be looked, and they also needs to be sanctioned. Then another thing again is this: a situation with the situation of things now, like what Curtis said, that the situation in which House of Assembly members, House of Rep members, and the Senators that have lost their seats, they have to approach the federal, re-edit itself or correct itself, and it's also get to Supreme Court. We may see a situation where all those cases that we have in State House of Assembly, House of Rep, and Senator will be pushed to the Supreme Court, because with the situation of this, justice should be justice at any time, law should be law at a particular time, and at the same time, we are our politicians also, and that is why a lot of people believe that NJC needs to investigate this, so that if there is a level of inducement or judgment for sale in the Court of Appeal, I think the NJC can investigate and sanction those people that are needed to be sanctioned.
Joseph Olorunso, again, we can't talk about strengthening our democracy without talking about some of these issues. Because again, you remember when the presidential elections was concluded, and the INEC chairman, Professor Mahmood, said, look, go to court. You know, you had people saying, oh, why do you say go to court? Something, oh, maybe because some of you believe that the court process can be, you know, manipulated. And on this particular platform, especially mainland Nigeria, we said, look, the court processes are part of the electoral process.
Yes.
And that, look, if anything happens during the election, you have to allow the courts to have a final say. Like Nuruddin has said, there used to be a time that governorship election petitions ended at the appeal court. There were things that happened at that time that necessitated, you know, the extension of elections, governorship elections petitions, getting to the Supreme Court. If it was at that time, the governor of Zamfara State would have lost his seat. The governor of Kano State would have lost his seat. The governor of Plateau State would have lost his seat.
Even Wike wouldn't have become a governor.
Even Wike wouldn't have been. So have we gotten to the point now? Because again, we see people saying that, look, the Supreme Court is inundated too much by election matters and all of that. There are people who even think that, look, we don't necessarily have to have all elections get to the Supreme Court. But with what has happened in Plateau State, Kano, and some of these other states, that seems to now have been corrected by the Supreme Court. Should we just agree that all election petitions, even at the state level, should get to the Supreme Court?
I think, I think the first thing that we need to do now is for us to take care of the gate man. Seriously scrutinize the gate man. If we have a gate man here, if anything happen here, and you only dodge the gate man there, that's the security of this very place.
Yes.
That thing will continue to happen here. What am I saying? I think it is time, whether from the president down to you and I, should sit INEC down and say, INEC, which way Nigeria? For example, if INEC is being empowered to discipline parties, that there should be there should be a model, a process for a candidate to emerge in any political party. If any political party has said that their second name is indiscipline, INEC should be able to come out and say, do you know what? Since we are not part of the process of emergence of any candidate in so and so. In fact, these people, they are on their own. You understand it? But especially whereby INEC, we are neither here nor here. They can't discipline any party. We continue to have this kind of situation. So what I will suggest is, let us look for a way to empower INEC to discipline any party and to equally discipline their own staff. Like, for example, if it is civilized country, they will ask the INEC chairman to resign for saying, if you are not okay with anything, go to court. Statement, I don't expect it for a very cerebral professor who is an historian and a very distinguished individual. Now, apart from that, Fuad, we are all complaining that we don't have money. Is it not?
Yes.
Government have been borrowing money. If we're able to calculate how much is going down from the beginning of our election down to court, whether directly or indirectly, I don't think we will be calling any country to borrow us money. So what I would suggest, or what I would advocate is, I think before 2027 election, let's empower INEC. First, discipline, and I'll be saying it here. I want a situation whereby if any INEC official is being found guilty of any electoral manipulation, it should be court-martial or it should be regarded as a coup plotter. Because, for example, if people in Ejigbo decide that they want to vote for Fuad, and with some individual who know someone that knows someone that knows someone in INEC, they manipulate and there's a form. Immediately, anybody that have access to that form become like, it will take the message of God. So, if such kind of thing happen, then the INEC official that helped that should be able to disable. Look at the issue of Adamawa. Till tomorrow, is it not a shame? Is it not a shame? Is it not a shame for where we have immigration officer, we have the police, we now say that man somehow, we don't know how many
maybe he's in
travel to another country.
Okay, we're still going to open the phone lines because I can see messages already dropping on our Facebook platform. Like I said, we're streaming the show live, so you can actually drop your comments and contributions on our Facebook and YouTube platform. I'm going to open the phone lines anytime from now. But again, we're going to talk about INEC, the umpire. You know, it's still part of...
Are they umpire?
Well,
sometimes you see INEC is that, in quote, that is, according to our constitution, the INEC is an umpire. But sometimes, of what, we monitor primary in some parties. Yes. We monitor normal elections. Sometimes you see INEC.
Yes.
They are umpire in quotes. But hey,
but the thing is,
we will not talk the thing for here.
Again, INEC is a big topic. Nuruddin.
Yes.
It's something that we cannot completely talk about. You know, we'll continue to talk about reforming the entire process, getting the umpire to behave properly and conduct elections that we can be very proud of. But, you know, all eyes on the judiciary that we have been talking about, I think, got to a form of climax with this Supreme Court judgment on these governorship elections. And we decided to highlight that of Kano, Plateau, and even Zamfara. Even in Lagos, the issue of whether you are qualified or not because you have dual citizenship have been sorted out. I hope that a political party will not go to court again
on that particular
issue. If you understand what I'm saying. I'm also hoping that we're not going to wake up tomorrow, Nuruddin, and a political party, after elections have been conducted, will go and be challenging the nomination of a candidate in another party.
That is not a member of that party.
Because now the Supreme Court has warned. And I said, no, you can't do that. We are hoping that we will not wake up again. And then we have situations where a court is removing the votes of a political party because a ballot paper was signed or not signed. Even when INEC did not disown the ballot paper. So what I'm going to Nuruddin before we open the phone lines is that we are hoping that all of these cases that have been resolved by the Supreme Court, clearly resolved. You know, I think even the choice of words of the justices are so clear and unambiguous on all of these cases. We're not going to find situations where lawyers and politicians after another election will now still go to court with some of these cases. Or it's just the usual thing, our politicians will always do what they want to do, irrespective.
One thing there is, I think, is very, very important that our judges, especially in the Court of Appeal, I don't know, it is a routine that any issue that you want to sit on, you first of all look at the president before you write.
Is there something?
So
I'm sure the lawyers of the appellants, there's no way they would not have looked at precedents while arguing their case.
Yes.
So why is that?
And they are even going to court it. But one thing there is
that our justices and the Appeal Court dismiss.
That is why I said that it is very, very important now that our justices should do more in the situation in which, look at the issue of Atiku against Muhammadu Buhari at that particular time, that his mother is not in Nigeria, the issue of citizenship even came in. You recall
all of this have been resolved then.
It has been resolved, but you see have a situation that repeated itself in a file sued by Labour Party
in Lagos,
in Lagos here. So automatically, what the justices should be able to be doing, you bring that kind of they will slam you seriously, especially, and they will now wash that kind of a lawyer that lead that particular legal team. If you are a senior advocate of Nigeria and you see somebody that have not used the same year because he's a judge, now use the same year like you, now wash you away with some certain words that you behave like a rookie, that you are doing Makosa dance, all those kind of words that is going to bring the ego of such lawyers down. So if you can do that, then another thing again is this. I think it's very, very important that our politicians, our lawyers should not allow the politicians to be pushing them. Irrespective of they are your client, you need to still tell them, no, if you have to save your own name, you have to save your own reputation, because I will not be able to give a job to a lawyer that have been awashed with a lot of abuses, that he behaves like a rookie.
Don't you think the politicians are the ones that are actually desperate?
We know, but at the same time, there are some certain ways. Okay, look, for instance, in our program, he told me, we have a situation that some people will call you, that somebody have taken their rights.
But the lawyer should be able to guide the politicians.
I will not tell them with what you've explained on ground.
You are guilty.
You are the one guilty. It's better look at the one of somebody that have worked for somebody, and after working for that person, you now had an accident. You now said that person is supposed to even take care of you, and that person, because you are a former worker, he heard of that accident, he came to your rescue, put you in a specialist hospital, pay all the bills, and later you see come up to he's supposed to give you something to be working with, and now told him, come, the person has not done anything.
Not obliged.
So what is important, he has done his best, and I still go back to the employer and he still do something. What is important is that our lawyers, irrespective of the money they want to get, they must be able to be telling their clients what the law says. And the politicians, they should be able to tell them, this is what the law says. If you want me to do this, it is better put a bond of 1 billion naira aside, because they will slam me. If they slam me, that bond that you put on ground for me is what I'm going to use to verify.
Okay. But I think some of this thing may not work. Some of the lawyer, every lawyer want to be a senior advocate of Nigeria.
but no,
now hold on. If
like
someone want to be a senior advocate of Nigeria and a politician will influence that, they don't care to do any job for
the politicians.
That politician. For ridiculous. Them to, forget about, because one, they will get money and they may still get the senior advocates of Nigeria tomorrow. So it is time we say, okay, let things be done on merit based, that if you are a good lawyer, you were able to do your work very well with integrity and your core practice, ethic and the rest of them, you are sure that you become a senior advocate of Nigeria. But that's not what is happening. We all know circumstances. We all know circumstances that will not people getting senior advocate of Nigeria. So they can say their father's name, say their father.
Quota for state. If you are not, if you don't know anybody up there, and quota for your own state. I know a particular senior advocate of Nigeria that if he talks in court, you will just be laughing.
All right. Good evening.
Good evening, Saheed.
Yes, good evening.
I'm Kaudi.
Yes.
Greetings to Barrister Curtis.
Yes.
Greetings to sir.
Yes, he was with us a while ago. Yes.
Yeah, and Nuruddin and my other man there, I've forgotten the name.
Joseph.
It's good evening, sir. Bwala. Just like Segun Showunmi said.
Yes.
You see,
is your man from Ogun State too?
Yes, I know him very well. I'm very closer to the family. Are you with me?
Well, with you.
But then, you see, when we see people like this, are we supposed to continue to trust or have confidence and trust in them? Though it's good, you are probably looking forward to making a country to be better than we are seeing now. And I want to join them in that. But at the same time, why couldn't you have told us all that, look, my people, I want to go there to join these people? You see, they have, like, this man, Lamido, what's his name? The governor of, is it?
Sule Lamido, Jigawa.
Sule Lamido said, yes, they have probably turned us as indentured servant now. That, look, let us begin to see how we can impoverish these people's heart. Let's put them at the bay that. They cannot even know what they are doing. With me, move from one party to another. Jumpology or something like that. You can imagine. You see, they don't have no party ideology, no shame at all. No, not even to talk of interest of the public ahead of their own interest. And I wonder, why are we wasting time on these people at all? Why can't we probably come together?
All right, Kaudi, on the Supreme Court judgment.
Let us come together and look for a third party that will be able to vote for 2027. These people are deceiving us.
All right.
How long should we be deceived?
All right, thank you, Kaudi.
Thank you.
All right, God bless you. All right, 09136 0000410. We're streaming the show live, so you can drop your comments and contributions on our Facebook and YouTube platform. We have a lot of comments already, and of course, you can also call in to bear your thoughts on the two issues we're looking at.
Hello, Fuhad.
Yeah, good evening.
Happy New Year, everybody in the studio.
Happy New Year, sir.
Happy New Year, former.
Yes, Ekuche. Actually, Organo reading Adingba. Ekuche.
Agree with you.
Yes. I want to appreciate all of you. Each time we discuss the Nigeria issue, even I also appreciate the caller because we are just trying to encourage ourselves because we are not there at all. That is the truth. The two people you mentioned earlier in your discussion, Bwala, I don't see what he's looking for again. Even though to me, even though Atiku trying to bring people together, Atiku have lost it already. If Atiku had remained the PDP loyalist, by now, he's coming a president, he could have just be on the easy of the plateau of growth. Because his jumpology from the base of Jonathan, he lost the primary position. He have also affected him up, even though the consent for 2017. I don't think that he will make it. But to me, if Obi can just become more concentrate, despite all the bias of the INEC and the Supreme Court, who is the third party again? The only third party that we can know that when we put more effort and the INEC to be conscious to themselves, do what is needful in 2027, we will get it right and everybody will went to peacefully.
All right, thank you, Former.
The issue, let me just ask you a question before I draw. In the Plateau State you mentioned, most of the House of Representatives and the Senator and the State House of Assembly, is there any hope for them coming back again?
Like you said, there's legal implications to that Supreme Court judgment and
the election day and wait for the results at the end of the announcement. Can you hear me?
Well, with you.
Okay, thank you very much. There is not even 100 years to come. There's no how Nigeria will not blame INEC because even in your studio there, you have your preferred candidate during the election, and the other barrister also have it.
Who says? We are journalists here. I don't have any preferred candidate.
We don't even have time to vote on that.
We didn't even vote.
Yes, because if the vote doesn't go to your way, the INEC is biased. Is it not the same INEC that conducted the election?
But on the two issues, let's leave INEC. Malambelo, I don't want us to talk about INEC today. We have two issues. The PDP's members hinting at defecting to the APC one, and then the issue of the court judgments, the Supreme Court judgments.
Okay, all right. Yeah, like the issue of Bwala, like you said, Bwala, I don't think Bwala is praying or is working towards a good Nigeria, as far as I'm concerned, because this is the same Bwala that called this current president different kind of name. Like Padika they says that, and what is the former governor of Rivers State, that even go so far to call APC as a cancer party. Where is he today? He worked for the interest of the cancer party. And the cancer party won in his state. So all these people, they are not working for, they are working for their pocket. He's visiting to president. It's not all about good Nigerians.
It's just about himself. But Malam, are you surprised about the court judgments, the Supreme Court judgments?
Honestly, I am very surprised about the Supreme Court judgment.
Which of them? All the 8, or you have 1 or 2 states that surprised you?
If not because of the Supreme Court, left for Court of Appeal, none of these 4 governors would have retained their governor. You understand? So they are so our Nigerian judiciary, particularly Court of Appeal, they are so contradictory. Whether whether they are being used one way or the other to pronounce.
We don't know.
I don't know. They would have even used that example of President Tinubu case and Atiku, which says that you cannot interfere in internal political party affairs. But they went ahead without considering that and pass out that kind of conflicting judgment.
All right, thank you, Malam Bello. God bless you. All right. He said he's not for the Supreme Court. And that's the truth.
And it's a fact.
Hello, good evening.
Hey, good evening to everybody in the studio.
Good evening, sir.
Compliment to every one of you there.
Same to you.
So, you have Ambassador Musba here.
Oh, Ambassador Musba, how you doing now?
To me, I'm fine. Now, to me, someone said the other time, I don't know whether it's when are we going to stop going to court to decide who won? We're going to continue as far as democracy is concerned. We continue to go to court. And the judgment will come either way, it depends how you present your case. Even the government courts in America, they still go to court after the election. So if they are trying to go to court, there is no more democracy. In as far as democracy comes to start, we go to court. But the politicians themselves say, okay, I want to be a gallant loser, I will accept. And I'm here to see a politician that will come out and tell you he accepts. Just, and either way, but to me as a people, those candidates, the one that won and the one that loses, what they stand to offer, they are like a striker in club player. They can be a Chelsea player today. Be a total, like Ahmed now is a total player, former Chelsea. What do you expect? So that's the politician we have in Nigeria. They will continue to change club, change party, political party as much to satisfy their family
and their own personal interests.
They don't care about Nigerians. What they care about, I blame Nigerians who want to get for this position. Tell me, people will be today. You can't know tomorrow. You can be an APCO. Look, there will be a surprise because you're from one party before, almost 3 parties now. So you can compete before with APC. So for we as a Nigerian, what do we want from this politician?
Okay.
Well, can we see the target for them? Can we put them on their toes? No. We keep on supporting, no problem. And the judiciary this time around, honestly, I'm facing judiciary this time around because a lot of people, and then they limit to some people, they plan bands of position from contesting again. So
all right, thank you. Thank you so much, Ambassador Musba. All right, thank you so much. We take this call and then we'll go to Facebook 09136 0000410. Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Yes, good evening.
Yes, sir. My name is Malam Salah.
Malam Salah, how are you doing today?
I'm fine, sir. How are you doing, sir?
Where are you calling from this evening?
Sir, I'm calling from Alagbado, sir.
Okay, yes. Please go on, sir.
Can you hear me, sir?
Yeah, I can hear you, Malam Salah.
Yes, sir. See, sir, I've told you before in this program that before 2027, there won't be anything like opposition party.
Oh.
You understand? And this is, we can see what is happening now. And even Atiku, the character of Atiku himself can drive a lot of his PDP members out of that party.
You think Atiku's character can drive PDP? Why? Yes, what's wrong with his character?
Because any arrangement that if he's not the one that will benefit, it's not wrong.
So you think Atiku in PDP is just about himself, and that's the problem?
Yes, it's all about himself. All this collection, whatever, it's about him. You see, and before 2027, we see more governors of PDP will come down to
the APC.
Yes. Now, let me give you one thing again. You see, if you now look at it, in the northeast, where he is now, even in his state, do you know that if Aisha
Binani
happened to be a man? Yes, if she happened to be a man, she could have collected that power from this.
What's wrong with her being a woman?
Being a woman, we in the northern part of Nigeria and in the Islamic terminology, most times we don't.
You're not really ready to vote for a woman.
Yes, that is obvious truth. And Adamawa will not be an exception. They won't agree that thing will now start from the onset. I think this is politics. There is the logic behind it. You understand? But be that as it may. Now let's come back to Atiku himself. You understand? Therefore, do you know that before 2027, APC will go to election with about 3 governors from South. Because APC, WG state will definitely go to APC. No two ways about it.
You can't tell the result already.
Oga is going to VDP, is going to APC. The reason is very simple. The reason you are all political scientists, scientists now.
All right.
With the attitude of this man, Obaseki, you understand? It's already teared the PDP apart in this state.
All right.
And if you want to zone in, we could not start from why not during his time.
All right. Thank you, Malam Salah. Thank you so
The
much.
time is
Thank you so much.
Concluded.
Before
you don't finish
pick the candidates. They don't pick the candidates.
All right, let's look at the messages we have on Facebook. We have we had earlier messages that Barrister Curtis's voice was a bit muffled. I think it's a lot better now. We had to quickly check that. Father Ibumi OC Moral, I salute you, sir, my gallant people in the house. That's from OC Moral Ikeja Cantonment. We have Basil Chika, who is saying Bwala visit and subsequent comment from him and Showunmi and Nigerian politicians alike. Anywhere bread is buttered, and that is why I can't stress my head for any of them, because they are liars and unreliable. Then on Supreme Court verdict on governorship election, mostly in Plateau State, has once again raised dust over the inconsistency of judiciary, where they nullified both Senate reps and House of Assembly elections, claimed that PDP doesn't exist prior to the time of election. Hypocrisy. I think they should come out bold now and tell Nigerians that that arm of government has been hijacked by the executive. Well, I don't know about hijack, but I think we need to continue to ask ourselves questions when we see some inconsistencies. Well, the debate on electoral reforms when it comes to the judiciary will continue. We have Chris Akin Ayuade, who is saying cavalry greetings to the entire crew. The Nigerian state has become a business enterprise where a good number of athletes, businessmen and women smile to the bank simply by making some very loud noise, pretend to be masses advocates, criticize bad government, all with a view to gaining the rulers' attention, and soon as they are invited to the villa and Ghana must go actually move, they change their lyrics of their music, whilst the millions of event watchers begin to wag their tongues and ponder if we are actually hallucinating or something. When next you have these kind of issues for public discourse, please endeavor to play the two sides of the sound bite for us, so that a single episode of your highly cherished program could help this generation and the next whenever the word posterity comes to the fore. I'd written, okay, he said he had written to get my contact. I'm going to see to that. Thank you so much, Mr. Chris. You are there, and he sent a long list of his write-ups, which, of course, we'll try to look through. We have James Ogbona, who is saying, distinguished Fuhad and all the gentlemen in the studio, I greet you guys satisfactorily. I listened to the soundbite by Mr. Bwala, and he said, if we would defect back to the APC, only God knows tomorrow. And I said to myself, Baba, you yourself know tomorrow. Because he knows tomorrow already that he would be defecting soon. In fact, to me, the two men have technically defected. They are only waiting to formalize it. Politicians with no ideology would always be politically prostituting to remain relevant. I don't take them serious. Mr. Fuhad, I observe one thing in common in all of the judgments of the Supreme Court on the governorship cases so far. The apex court didn't upturn the victory of any governor. I think it's deliberate, and I think the same would play out for Rivers and Ogun State. We are not sure. We are not sure. The justices in their wisdom are trying to ensure peace in these states. Well, I think, although they've said that they're going to give a more elaborate explanation for all of these judgments, but even in their reasons and what they've said,
what they presented,
I think what the Supreme Court had done in most of the cases are quite logical, you know.
And they are based on facts that are
and even precedent. They actually help a lot of situations.
You know, and if they declare any governorship candidate, they may fight in subsidiary state. That one will not still remove the governor.
Yes, of course. Yes. Then Dayo Dada, evening crew, what do you expect from Cash and... Okay, well, Dayo Dada is always coming with things that we cannot read on radio. But thank you so much for always being a part of the show. Well, then we have Kyle Diolon saying, I completely agree with Nuruddin that Bwala Daniel was just dry, looking for a job. No political party ideology, no signs of ideas or ideals. The likes of Bwala are self-centered, extremely unpleasant and quite repulsive by the position he has taken on invitation or no invitation by the president. Well, he has not defected. He's only saying he wants to support the president, for a better Nigeria. I think that's all the message we have so far on Facebook. You can still drop your messages. We will definitely take it. Hello, good evening. Hello, good evening. Hello, good evening. Hello, good evening. Good evening.
Hello?
Yes, good evening.
Yeah, good evening, Mr. Fuhad.
Yes, your name, sir?
Yeah, Larry Bashir.
Oh, Larry Bashir. How are you doing, sir?
I get everybody in the
Where are
studio.
you calling from this
Good
evening?
evening, sir.
We give you.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, where are you calling from, Larry Bashir?
Yeah, get you.
K2, okay. Please go on, sir.
Yes. This man, one senator, Senator Bukachua, has already exposed their people.
I didn't want to mention that man's name.
He said it now. He said when his wife was the president of their people, they are conniving with all
He said he was helping people.
Helping people.
Yes, he said it. So when they deliver that judgment, to me, I just see it as what? It is normal. I don't expect anything different from them. But what powerful me is that why is it that people are contradicting each other? The tribunal will say A, appeal will say B, and the Supreme will say C. Why are these people like this? Why are they giving us issue in this country? So now, these people have lost their seat in Plateau State. After spending money, after all the stress, they just lost their seat. It was even on something that is baseless. And they will let me do that if our Plateau government, as the speaker, honestly, I won't let this one fly. I would never let it slide. I would make sure that I fight it to the conclusion. Because this is to me, I want to give sound.
Actually, I have to agree with you, Larry, but she's completely ridiculous. I have to say, completely ridiculous.
Yes. In fact, it's so painful. On Friday, I was listening. I said I want to see what the Supreme Court
will say.
The judgment will be. I just want to hear it. Let me see what the guy next are going to say. But when the judgment was read, I said yes. These people it's like their own vision is quite different from these people. All the justices from the
all right.
court.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Larry Bashir. Who can fault Larry Bashir's argument? He just reminded us of Senator Bukachua.
Yes.
Who had said that
an expose.
So can anybody now fault that now? With even what we're saying?
Even with what we've
hello, good evening. Yes, good evening. Yeah, good evening.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, good evening.
Yeah. My name is Prince Wise, calling you from Amodo.
Oh, good evening, Prince Wise.
I greet all of you, fellow dear.
We greet you too, sir.
Thank you. You see, the Supreme Court judgment is really, I feel happy till now. I still feel happy about it. Because after the verdict, everything was so peaceful. No rancor. Praising, and that's supposed to be. But in Nigeria context, where some politicians lost their election through the court, do you believe Atiku is pressing now? He accused the Supreme Court after the verdict of the Supreme Court the other time around. So for me, in fact, and let me just go direct to Bwala. Bwala, what he said after visit Mr. President, I want to just to see, I'm saying it, that majority of Nigerian politicians, they are bread and butter politicians. They only go to where their bread is butter.
Yes.
I just start today. It's time for 1950s. We can know cross carpet does not start today. Second Republic we know what happened in Oyo State between the Rubudo and the Ebola. That says a lot. But what I will say is this. Atiku has calling the opposition, let us come together. Who is he calling? Is he calling Labour Party to come together? We will be step down for Atiku if they come together. Will Atiku step down for
or Rabi Kwankwanso, will he step down for Atiku?
We didn't go to where you can't get mouth. Rabi Kwankwanso today, we like to associate with present government to get something that will move with Atiku. Because if we tell Atiku, will you stand up for me? And if Atiku refuse, they go their separate way. And they will be himself. If we now make alliance with Atiku, will we stand up for Atiku? The answer is impossible unless if you don't want to become president of this Nigeria.
But Prince Wise, then what becomes of opposition politics in Nigeria?
Opposition politics in Nigeria, they are only making opposition through they speak, they can bite, he can't bite. If we have a real opposition in this country today, we in Nigeria, we are fighting National Assembly by buying a vehicle SUV, 160 million. National, the APC, they have their own people, they support that 160 million, they are the one who originated it. Number two, Atiku have people, senator in the house. That they tell their senator to reject that money in that vehicle. Obi can't tell his legislator to reject. They don't say anything about it. They are just make him out.
All right.
Talk of opposition, we have opposition of paper, not
real opposition
by hard working.
All right. Thank you so much, Prince Wise. God bless you, sir. 09. Well, let's take some more messages on Facebook. We have Abdurrafiu Alabalape who is saying, good evening, gentlemen in the studio. Alhaji Atiku Abubakar is not playing politics anymore. I believe he's just showing the heavy hatred he has. I don't think it's hatred. Sometimes politics can be a bit bitter, but I don't think it's hatred.
If you are talking about a politician that has been losing from when he has been losing.
And very consistent.
And still very consistent. And you cannot attach one inflammatory statement to him. No, just give it to him.
I don't think it's hatred. I just think it's just politics can be what it is.
Yes.
You know? So look at Nigerians. Look, Nigerians can never trust Atiku with anything because of his political jumpology. So Atiku should go and sit one place, okay? And guys, Daniel Bwala is Asiwaju boy. He betrayed Asiwaju, immediate Asiwaju picks Ashetima, a Muslim, as his running mate. That's why Bwala was not too happy with Tinubu, but now he has repented. Please, any update from Plateau State House of Assembly? Well, the Assembly.
We have said it's so much.
They are still.
The fight that
just starting
their teams.
It does Assembly, but. On whether Atiku, or I don't think Atiku is Asiwaju, it's just politics. And then Bwala, well, Bwala said he hated Muslim ticket, but now he's ready to work with that Muslim ticket. So, I don't know. And then on Tɣᴇ Azu is saying, Nigerian politicians and political accessories, trust them at your own peril. Most are wear belle-faced politicians. Bwala has already rejoined the APC. Wike is already there, I beg. All right, 09136000410. Hello, good evening. Hello, good evening.
Hello.
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening.
Yes, your name, sir. Where are you calling from?
Abubakar.
Oh, Abubakar. I guess you're calling from Apapa.
Yes, sir.
Yes, you need to speak louder, please.
Okay. Am I audible now?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Oh, okay. I want to talk about this issue of the former spokesperson of the
Daniel Bwala.
Daniel Bwala.
Yes.
My problem was that this man abandoned the party based on ideology.
Muslim, Abi, at that time.
Okay. And what has changed? Well, both Daniel Bwala and
Showunmi.
They are not the grassroots politicians. They always be remaining as a spokesperson. And Daniel Bwala is a smart man. Though even when he debated, even when he criticized the president, he still gave it to the president at least. The president is only criticizing based on his own party, where he belongs to. As in where he finds himself at that particular moment. So if you want to come back to the party, well, yeah, I think but for me, I don't think that will make him look more serious as more from the people.
So you don't take him serious?
On the issue of this judgment on
Supreme Court, yeah.
The issue is that if you realize there was a judgment before the election that actually nullified all the candidates of the PDP.
Look,
hello?
I'm with you.
That same judgment was what the APC are kind of when they filed their appeal. When they filed their appeal.
Abubakar, it was not a nullification. No. There was an order given to the party to redo the primaries. But
they refused to do that.
But the INEC still accepted the party to nominate candidates. And so what the Supreme Court is saying is that, look, it can only be a PDP challenging PDP on that process, not another party.
Yes, think that has already been established. But
yes.
The initial challenge of the first Congress that they made,
yes,
that they conduct, it was not holistic.
We agree that there could have been issues with. Look, there could have been
challenges from the party, not from the APC.
Abubakar. We could have been. Look, but what we are saying is that when it came to election, eventually PDP presented a candidate, and that was accepted and was on the ballot and won an election.
And even the issue was not even before the election.
And
it's
was
not an election.
And if you remember, Abubakar, people keep talking about Zamfara. You know, Zamfara was APC versus APC.
It's APC versus APC. Yeah,
you know, it was APC versus APC.
APC versus APC now.
It was not PDP using APC to fight APC. It was APC fighting themselves.
Which was already established on the divided.
So that's what we are saying here, that you can't come from another party and be, especially on election petitions, a pre-election matter.
So now, with this judgment now reflected on the State House of Assembly.
That's the problem now. It is.
That's the current problem.
That's the current problem now.
This is the same case now, one judgment.
The same case, different judgment. That's the problem. Yes.
Two different judgments now.
Yes. All right. Thank you, Abubakar. It's a very big, it's a very confusing situation. Hello. Good evening. I think this will be the last call for the evening. Hello. Good evening.
Hello. Good evening.
Yes. Good evening.
This is Kendi Alabi from Mushin.
Okay, Kendi Alabi from Mushin. Please go on, sir.
Fuhad, another panelist.
Yes. Good evening, sir.
It's a beautiful evening this Sunday.
Good evening, sir.
So, the tribunal and as a country, I would want us to create and against the institution of the judiciary. And that's why we have appellate courts. Whatever judgment any court gives is sacrosanct.
Okay.
Based on evidence before the court.
Yes.
I get my point.
Yes.
For court of first instance, we have court of first instance, second, and one.
But Mr. Kende, did you wait, Mr. Kende? Wait.
Let me lie.
Okay.
I want to make a point.
Okay. All right.
Whether rightly or wrongly, it is the decision of the court and it remains the decision of the court until that decision is replicated.
Yes.
Is a lawyer supposed to know that? That is the fact. Now, on the issue of the Plateau issue, the Speaker of the court, is just joking. Court of Appeal is the final court as far
for legislative matters.
And yes, and other is concerned. That is the final. That is what that party has to remain. Now, on the issue of that judgment too, the Supreme Court did what they did as a court of reason to stabilize, not also to give judgment, but to stabilize the politics. The facts are there. What if they go other ways? In case of Kanu and Plateau, who knows what will happen by now? But at the court of last resort, at the court of policy, to put in consideration so many things to stabilize the nation. That's how it's supposed to be. That's what they do.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Kende. We are really out of time, and I really just want to quickly take the messages we have on Facebook. We have Kolawole Kazim saying the reason why our politicians cross carpet is because the voters themselves do not have political voters care. And the importance of subscribing to political ideology is to help simplify one's choice during an election. Election time is very complex time. It's a very long message I can't take because of time. I think James Ugbona already took your message. I may not be able to take this second one because of time. Okay, Kaudi Lolo, like me. Let me ask for what's the mood of Ganduje now as regards Gano State Supreme Court judgment? His mood, okay?
There is nothing you can do.
Politicians, they know how to move on.
They move on.
They plan for the next election. All right. Well, this is where we call it a day political roundtable, Mainland 98.3 FM. We had Barrister Curtis Adigba join us all the way from the US. Nuruddin Adigbenro in the studio. Joseph Olorosho also has been with us in the studio from 6 o'clock. Nuruddin, your last take on the show this evening.
Well, my own is just it is important that the judiciary should save our political processes. It's very, very important because that is the only arm of government that we don't vote for before they get into power. It's a professional job that took them there. They should try to save this our democracy, because if we are having this conflicting judgment, different judgment on the same case at different level of the courts, then it signals something. And that is why NJC needs to look into all the processes, and any judicial officer or any judges that has been found wanting, that has been induced and do something unprofessional, they need to sanction such particular judges.
All right, thank you so much, Nuruddin. Joseph Folosho, your final thing.
First, let me appeal to our wonderful brother that make issue of Edo State. Wait for Edo people to do the election and decide.
Before concluding,
he's
making his prediction.
Well, yeah, no, that may not.
Do you want to hear my own prediction?
No, leave it. Leave Edo to take what decide the
my
election.
mind tells me what's going to happen.
Don't worry. I think the other one, I want to appeal to the wonderful people in the Court of Appeal.
Yes.
Please consider the state. Like Platoon, I'm just afraid.
Okay.
With some things there. So
thank you so much, Joseph Folosho. My producer is already telling us to leave the studio. Well, it's been a wonderful package. Political Roundtable, Mainland 98.3 FM. My name is Saheed Fuhad. Let's do this again next week.
Paying attention to the hustle and bustle of Lagos. Take a chill pill.
Problem in the feeling. Calm down. Holiday to Mozambique. Follow me go to Mozambique.
On the Switch, we're the perfect guide to your destination. Mainland 98.3 FM. The sound of Lagos.
Mainland 98.3 FM. Don't touch the dial. 98.3 FM. Don't touch the dial.
The journey of togetherness is like an onion bulb. It has layers and layers and more layers that looks beautiful only when cut nicely into consistent patterns. A heart that will